Kia ora. Kia ora, everybody. Tēnā koutou katoa. I'm Dave Watson. I'm the National Network Manager at the Sustainable Business Network, and welcome to the inaugural edition of Shout Out. This is an SBN weekly series that highlights our members who are doing great things with great products and services. There has been a lot of talk about coming out of this opportunity that COVID's presented us and building back better and building a low carbon future. And one of the powerful tools in doing this, is having a sustainable supply chain, a low carbon supply chain. And the SBN membership represents this low carbon supply chain. So this event is a platform to highlight the business to business and business to consumer opportunities that lie on the network that will help you build back better. So just first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. If you'd like to ask a question, please use your Q&A function at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can also let us know that if you have any problems with your tech or you can't hear anything just by using that function there. SBN is excited to present Leo Murray from Y Waste and Jody Whitten from Palletite as our first presenters in this series of our weekly shout-outs. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to present their pitch, followed by 10 minutes of questions. We will aim to wrap it up about 12:35. So make yourself comfortable. And here we go with a quick introduction to Leo. Leo Murray runs Y Waste out of the Bay of Plenty. And Y Waste started in about 2014 when Leo Murray began collecting skanky food waste in his van in Tauranga and Mount Maunganui and turning that back into great soil. His business, with help from an army of worms, literally grew out of that soil. Leo was a change maker, a permaculture champion, and an advocate of regenerative impact. So please take it away, Leo.
Yeah, shot, Dave. Tēnā koutou, everybody. Leo Murray is my name. I'm a storyteller that uses waste as a platform to communicate big picture ideas. My company, Y Waste, is on a mission to see all food waste in Aotearoa stay out of a landfill. Other services we provide are zero waste events as well as waste consultations, but I'm here to talk to you today about our worm farm rental and management service. So we're sort of plugging the circular economy into worm farming, and so we offer worm farms as a subscription. The kind of zooming out from that, I'm sure many of you are aware of the circular economy and how one of the key tenets of that is about access over ownership. And so in the future, a lot of products will become services. So yeah, our product is the worm farm and we service it once a month, and the payment structure is a subscription. As Dave mentioned, we used to run a compost collection, and I felt like I was just sort of sustaining the status quo. And so I've been seeking to develop a regenerative solution for a while now, and we've started to hit the ground running with the worm farm subscription. A couple of years ago, I was asked to be part of the team that audited Tauranga City's waste, and we came up with some pretty interesting statistics where, you know, you can sort of see here that 48.5% of the contents of what Tauranga City, Greater Tauranga, is throwing away is compostable. Now that seemed to me like a really big slice of the pie, especially when you add the fact that of what the impacts of biodegradable waste are. Of course, you know about that. Biodegradable waste to landfill equals leachates into the water table and methane into the atmosphere, which is 30 times worse than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. So there was that. And then it's also drove home a disproportionate focus on recycling. And I realized that like we've really been harvesting the low hanging fruit of sustainability for a long time now. And someone had to just sort of really just bite into this big chunk. And that was all exacerbated by the fact that the Bay of Plenty doesn't have any landfills. So we put 68 trucks on the road each week to Tirohia and Thames and Hampton Towns, south of Auckland. So yeah, taking into account all of those trucks and all that carbon and the impact on those communities, we really needed to sort that out. So in permaculture, we have an adage, the problem is the solution. And so we thought, well, this waste is actually a resource, and if we can process it on site, and grow food with it, then we've sort of gone beyond sustainability into a regenerative model. If you think of sustainability, it's like this light knife edge between degeneration and regeneration. And so we're trying to go beyond sustainability into a decentralized model with a low carbon dependency, where we're building soil, which is, I mean, peak soil is even more scary than peak oil. So we're kind of trying to essentially steer that into our food sovereignty. So how it works is we set our worm farms up at your business. We're servicing the upper North Island from Taupo all the way through to Auckland. We have 150 worm farms on subscription, and a third of those are business, and two thirds are business, and 1/3 is residential. And we take care of everything. We guarantee the success of the worms and the project as part of the service. And when we set up a new business, we sort of like to get everyone together and onboard staff and sort of galvanize the buy-in from all the people who are participating in minimizing waste. And so, yeah, we help people set up their systems, and that's a popular chat. A case study on the next slide is Holland Beckett Law. So the girl in the photo, her name's Kate. She was part of a new team that they set up for the sustainability of the firm. And the service was a really easy win for their team. And we've found it to be a really easy win for new sustainability coordinators. A lot of these roles are being created around and about. And so if organizations are considering their impact in the return from COVID-19, then our service is an ideal place to start, because it's immediate, it's affordable, and really low risk, because we don't have any heavy-handed contracts. Our modular approach with the Hungry Bin allows us to add or subtract worm farms, which gives us it's like a dynamic way of onboarding new organizations with different waste streams and different sort of seasonal variations. And so we can respond to change really well. And of course, if people don't really like it, it's not quite working, we'll just pull it away. It's no trouble for us to take the worm farms away and put them elsewhere. So yeah, probably getting to about 5 minutes now. Really keen to, just have a chat. If anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Anything that I've missed out is on this slide, or some of the benefits and things like that. But yeah, big ups to the Sustainable Business Network for putting this on.
Thank you, Leo. Any questions coming through, guys? Just type them into the chat bot, into the Q&A, and send them through. Leo, just do people manage their own, like putting the stuff in the worm, the food waste into the worm farms? Like, for example, at the moment, heaps of feed jars. So we're going to be dumping lots of feed jars. Do you advise what should go in there, how much, etc.?
Yeah, so like I said, about a third of our worm farms are at homes, and people are directly feeding them and sort of like, getting the kids on board and all that kind of thing. But what we're really trying to do now, especially in Auckland, as the council are rolling out a residential food collection, the council are really keen on Why Waste helping businesses with their waste. And so a lot of the time those systems are being set up with like a roster, or like even working it into the cleaners contract. There's a whole bunch of different ways to approach it. But speaking to like seasonal sort of flows of different kinds of waste, obviously feed jars they're all good, like worms enjoy them. But right outside my window, I've got some hectic orange trees and lemon trees. And so obviously some things can't go into our bins. And we never really like try to claim that it's a perfect solution. And neither does nature really. Nature like doesn't really solve one problem with one thing. It sort of works as a system. So we're just kind of like putting this forward, and it does work really well, but obviously some things not so great for. Cool.
So got a question here. What is the range of your operation, Leo? Do you service the South Island at all?
Yeah, no. So right now we're servicing from Taupo, Rotorua, Hamilton, Bay of Plenty, and Auckland. And then towards the end of this year, we'll be launching nationwide and as part of a virtual service with hands-on services like what we've currently got in Wellington, Palmerston North, Nelson, Christchurch, and Dunedin. That's all kind of like that's all what we're working on right now. And I'm really trying to set up a mana enhancing kind of organization. I don't want to just franchise what we've done. I really want to be able to make this work for everybody involved.
Cool. Hey, the hungry bin is the physical aspect. There's the worm aspect. What happens to the fertilizer? Is that something that you take away, or is that something that you utilize back into either the home or the workplace?
Yep. So we hold that fertility belongs to the subscriber, and we really encourage people to grow food with it, or feed their house plants, or create some kind of living landscape with it. But a lot of our subscribers are in it just for the waste minimization aspect. So we will take away that. And one of the pictures in the previous slide were a bunch of gardens. And so we have a non-profit arm called Why Waste Inspire Change. And we take worm farms into schools, and we work with garden clubs, and we teach kids how to grow food and nutrient cycling and sort of like rounding out that garden to table thing with table to garden. And so that's kind of like where a lot of our worm castings wind up, is growing food in schools.
Cool. Do you offer an auditing service around this work? A waste auditing service? We are auditing businesses if they want to kind of like really provide those kind of like measurable outcomes, and that's kind of like just another service that we provide. We don't it's a bit risky trying to incorporate it into the subscription, given that $25 a month is actually just really cheap. So we're kind of like trying to cast our net quite wide and empower the waste minimization. And then when clients want to really like dial down on the service, then we can plug in different aspects of how we support them in that. Cool. Do you find it works? Someone's asked how many people at work feed into one bin, and I'm assuming it's probably best to have a champion, someone who's wrangling that. We've got that person at the SBN who handles, who's taken that on. So how does that? How do you find that the system works within businesses, for example?
Yeah. So what we try to do is, if an office, say, has maybe 80 or 100 people, we'll try to sort of get one worm farm for about 20 people, max 25. So if there's 100 people, we'll sort of pitch for 5 worm farms, but 4 can kind of scrape through. But like you're saying, a lot of the success of the project comes down to the buy-in from the people using it. And so having some kind of like committee or like worm kaitiaki crew is really, really important to kind of just the ongoing part of it. Like I'm in there we service every kind of 3 to 6 weeks, seasonally variant. But if we've got someone in there kind of day to day feeding the worms and providing updates and whatnot, then that really, really secures the success of the project.
Cool. There's another question around sort of behavioral aspect, really. It's like stopping the commingled contamination, like just the wrong things getting into the bin. Yeah.
Well, this is definitely one of the reasons why I stopped with the compost collection, because contamination was really hectic. And I'm finding that I think maybe with the storytelling around like worms as like pets and worms eat the food, it's maybe easier for people to get their head around, like, can a worm eat this foil tea bag wrapper or this piece of, this sticker or something. So I find that I'm not pulling too much stuff out. The one thing that the sort of main contaminant that I'm pulling out when I service them are the coffee cups, because people quite haven't got their heads around PLA, which is totally understandable because it's confusing as hell.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned the stickers on fruit. I got to say, I've had a hungry bin for ages now, and it always ends up with the stickers in there, and it's a pain. And they're plastic. Of course, they're plastic, and it's not until you go and put it in your garden you really discover them.
Yeah, I've got a great sort of anecdotal piece around the fruit stickers. I was with the kids in the school, and we were looking in the hungry bin, and they were like, "What are all these stickers?" And I was saying, "Well, what do you reckon? Where have you seen those stickers?" And they're like, "Oh, they're from fruit." And so we wound up having a big talk about how sad it was for the worms that there were all these stickers in there. And so the result of that talk was that the kids all wrote individual letters to Zespri being like, "Yo, why are you putting stickers on the fruit?" And then Zespri wrote back and they were like, oh, we've got these biodegradable ones, but we only use them on our organic range. And we've looked at like branding the fruit with like heat. And so it was actually this really interesting dialogue between kids kind of flexing their civic muscles and industry kind of responding with kind of like where they were at with their journey and packaging. And it was a really good time.
Brilliant. Hey, look, I've got three questions which I think will take us to time. So just the first one, quick answer on how are the worm castings packaged so people can take them home, or is it just a matter of taking a bucket in and taking them home?
Yeah, so within the businesses, they'll just have a bucket nearby. Often the installations are like in a car park under a taller building or out the back. And so I'll just go in and I'll empty the castings and I'll put it in the bucket. But obviously with the Hungry Bin, you've got a tray. And so most people are pretty onto it, filling up like decanting the worm tea into some kind of vessel so they can take it home to their garden. We're trying to sort of, we don't necessarily like package it up. We're not trying to create a product. Mm-hmm. We're sort of trying to empower people to grow themselves, but we're open to all of that for sure.
Okay, and the last two questions I'm just going to roll into one. One is about top tips for worm farming at home, but there's also the next question is around home compostable packaging and how does that work with worm farms, and I think they sort of tie nicely together. So
yeah,
maybe,
nice.
Yeah,
I think with regard to composting, was it composting at home or worm farming at home?
Worm farming at home, but then the compostable packaging. So top tips for the worm farming at home, but also how do you respond to home compostable packaging?
Choice. So with the compostable packaging is like this kind of very hard thing to pin down. It's like a moving target, and there seems to be different generations of plant plastics out there, and some of them are starting to claim to be home compostable. I've run a few tests on some of them, and actually, despite not really wanting them to succeed, they did, and so I'm glad about that. But I haven't been putting them in the worm farm because compostable packaging breaks down with biology, microbes, and worms are like several trophic levels higher than microbes. And so what they're actually doing is they're actually eating the biology that's eating the scraps. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't recommend putting any kind of plant plastic into your worm farm. And in terms of tips for your worm farm, especially around autumn, the worms are going to want to breed a whole lot. So just tear up newspaper or cardboard or egg cartons, or get carbon into your worm farm. A lot of people sort of miss out from putting carbon in, but the worms can sense what's going to stick around a bit longer. So they'll lay their eggs on something that's going to be there in a month instead of a banana skin that might be gone in a week.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say if it's mushy, it's nitrogen, if it's kind of friable, it's carbon?
Essentially, yeah. If it's brown or if it's sort of I could roll with that, but the friable part comes later.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, well, Leo, thank you very, very much. And we're going to go to our next speaker, which is Jody Whitten. Thanks, Leo.
Hey, Jody. See you, team.
So, coming from a technical supply and logistics background, Jody Whitten worked at Gallagher for 4 years before branching out on his own to start Palletite. Founded in the beginning of 2019, Palletite is setting out to eliminate the thousands and thousands of kilometers of shrink-wrap plastic used in transoceanic shipping. Jody is here to tell us about his innovation and why this will make a difference. We're really excited to have Jody here today as our second speaker in the first edition of Shout Out. Please take it away, Jody.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I'll just share my screen here with you guys. And away we go. So my name is Jody Whitten. I am the founder and CEO of Palletite. It's a reusable pallet load containment system. Our Palletite covers are designed to minimize or eliminate the use of stretch wrapping our pallet loads within our supply chain, as well as minimize our costing for packaging, as well as increasing our health and safety within our operations, and as well as protecting our goods during transit and storage. So if we look at pallet containment today, we're using stretch wrap foam. They come in bundles like this. And to apply them to a standard pallet is a very resource intensive operation. We require forklifts to take each and every individual pallet to a machine. The operator needs to do a lot of things around that and then put the machine on. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes to do so. And even without machinery, by hand wrapping, an operator needs to walk around a pallet about 20 to 30 times. I have personally also seen all the damage and cost that the low protection film offers for pallet, for our goods, costing the industry millions of dollars. And at the end of the day, we end up with endless amounts of waste that just end up in our landfill and rivers and oceans. So what is Palletite? Palletite is an extremely durable pallet load containment cover that simply sleeves over our palleted goods. Our pallet covers attaches to any industry standard pallet via Velcro straps at the bottom of all 4 corners, as well as Velcro straps that contain our goods horizontally. Our pallet covers are reusable, they're cyclicable, and repairable. Our pallet covers are designed with a height adjustable top lid. There's many other functions for it as well, but the main one is for height adjustability. Because all pallet loads are not all the same size, and we want a one size fits all cover, we've designed our top panel to attach to our front panel via Velcro strap. The other feature of our Palletite covers is the fact that they fold into themselves semi-automatically, which makes them foldable and stackable as well as storable. And this is a very important feature for any reusable packaging we want to attain pretty much in the industry, because they have to be bulk transportable from company to company or business to business, if you will. The supply chain circulation of our pallet covers works as follows. From our depot or our manufacturing site, we will send out flat stacked palletites to a manufacturer, whether it be a food manufacturer, which is the industry we're targeting at the moment. The food manufacturer can use our Palletite covers on their pallets, load them into a truck, and that'll go most likely to a distribution center. At the distribution center, they can internally manage these since they can stack flat, either for storage or for their outbound operations, which they load back into a truck and then to end-of-line supermarkets. At the supermarkets, once they're finished with unloading their pallets, they simply stack our pallet covers flat onto a pallet once again, and our transport industry will just circulate them where they need it. And that's just a bit of logistics management. So the 5 top reasons for using Palletite, obviously first is mass environmental benefits, where we don't have 1,000 tons of stretch wrap entering our landfills and or our oceans. There's also reduced packaging costs. If you look at a reusable, if you think about our kitchens, we don't use disposable cutlery, knives and forks and stuff. And that's mainly because of cost. We will most certainly improve health and safety by using Palletite, where we reduce machinery and forklifts. According to ACC, forklifts are the most dangerous objects within a warehousing environment. We will also offer better load protection and security. It'll take about 20 to 30 stretch wraps of our LLDPE stretch film, where the Palletite, our polypropylene mesh, is 20 to 30 times stronger than that. We also offer a DMS. It's a data management system, which is efficient tracking technology through barcoding. And we'll be managing that and offering that to the entire supply chain. This is our contact details. We are at palletite.co.nz. And we're also on YouTube if you want to check out how this thing looks and feels pretty much. I'd like to thank the SBN for their time. Take some questions.
Thank you, Jody. Yes, please put your questions through. Here's a couple that have come through, Jody. Thank you so much. How much waste are you eliminating? And can you quantify this?
The amount of waste we are eliminating just by currently we are just a startup company and we're busy running trials, or we're just about to run trials with Woolworths and DKSH, which is a distribution center in Palmerston North. Our FMCG, our fast-moving consumer goods industry, wraps around 7,000 pallets per day. That's 50 meters per pallet load on average for a standard pallet load. We are looking somewhere just over 1,000 tons of stretch wrap, of LLDPE stretch wrap film being used in the industry.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you. So how many units have you created so far is a question that's come through. And attached to that is how far have they gotten? Have they shown up in Iceland, for example?
No. So currently, we are just looking at our national supply chain here in New Zealand. We have just come off a funding round from the Ministry for the Environment, which allowed us to create a few prototypes, and that's where we are now. It's vital that we get the product right before we go mass scaling. So that's why we're running trials bit by bit with the bigger supply chain industry users like Woolworths and foodstuffs.
Okay, well, just on that, here's a question. How is the system financed? Do businesses pay a deposit or do they purchase the wrap?
Okay, so our business model is divided into two. For a food manufacturing company, we will definitely be leasing them because they wouldn't want to own them. And as we lease them, we also manage them online. So we simply send you, say, a stack of 50, and you lease these per day for somewhere around 40 cents to 70 cents per day. And you can also, the other business models also is wholesale. These will be for distribution centers, and that's to reduce the cost. So that'll be a financial investment. And we aim at repairing our Palletite covers, which will bring the cost right down.
Okay. Can they be branded, or are you wanting to keep them like Palletite specific?
It'll be Palletite specific because we will be managing. We're a service company. We'll be managing them. We'll be repairing them. We'll be cleaning them, tracking them, tracing them, and working with the main distribution centers, Foodstuffs, Woolworths, and DKSH, and managing them as well.
Cool. Hey, look, you mentioned the cyclicable element. I'm assuming you meant that there's a circular aspect to the product, that at the end of its life there's a solution. Is that what you're meaning?
What I mean by cyclical, but absolutely yes. What we mean by cyclical is the fact that they're reusable and shareable throughout the entire food industry, from our manufacturing site through to manufacturers, through to distribution centers, all the way through to end-of-line supermarkets where they get stacked up again and then recycled. At our manufacturing site currently, we are looking at zero waste production for one. As to be sustainable, everything's measured precisely, and it's called lean manufacturing, which is what I'm currently doing, actually.
Right.
And as for end of life, I mean, these things will get broken down eventually. We aim at stripping everything down, which is the canvas and the Velcro, and then the polypropylene mesh will be fully recycled as best we can. Absolutely. And then if it's recycled, if it's broken back down into polypropylene mesh, we look at recreating polypropylene mesh through that. So it's a full cyclical movement.
Fantastic, thank you. Look, someone's just said, loving this idea, and they're going to do a bit of a pitch to one of our big, I won't mention who it is, but to one of our big logistic firms today, which is awesome.
Wicked.
So that's a great result right there.
Very good.
What about some wins? Obviously, you know, you've seen a wicked problem, and you potentially you're sitting on a really winning solution, and I really hope it goes, you know, flies for you. What sort of wins have you had today, just to keep you going?
We went to go see my old work, DKSH. We presented it to them as per a full demonstration to see what they think about it, and yeah, they were blown away by it. They were blown away by, firstly, the speed of applying and removing the covers instead of 2 to 3 minutes of taking each and every individual pallet to a machine. That's a lot of time saved efficiency. They really liked the fact that it's protecting their goods. They should see about well, I'm guessing here, it's not factual yet, but we're thinking somewhere between 80 and 90% of reduction in damaged goods, because our Palletite, our covers are super robust, super tough. They really like the height adjustability. It's a one size fits all, and they figured it could work. It could circulate throughout our system.
Mm-hmm.
We've also seen a company in Nelson. They don't have a machine. They have a smaller operation, and they really like it because the operator there has to hand wrap each and every individual pallet, and then it just moves from their inbound station to the outbound, and then they have to cut it off again, and that's just unbelievable waste. We demoed it to them, and they really liked it. He was really chuffed with it. Really quick, easy, and effective.
Awesome. Hey, another question. Do you have an estimate of when this will be available? I think you may have answered that, but just when are you planning on going online with it?
We currently have a subcontractor in Leuven that are currently making these for us, designing it. It's all going to depend on scale. We're going to need the big industry. We're going to need the bigger size FMCG industry, our big suppliers. It's foodstuffs and Woolworths, to get on board, which means we can scale up. And once we can do that, it could be done fairly quickly. It can be done fairly quickly. We're busy working with the Ministry for the Environment. They really like the idea as well for waste reduction. And now that COVID-19's taken place, we were planning on launching 2021 after running trials.
Right.
But we can still do it for individual companies. It can still be done. It can still be done right now. Put it that way. We're ready. We're ready to fly with it.
I guess it's a good opportunity to have lots of conversations as much as you can. So
right,
and
exactly right.
I'm glad you could get it across today. Hey, we don't have any more questions, but is there anything you'd like to finish with, Jody?
Just like to thank you guys at SBN. I think it's vital that we stick together as a community with both waste reduction and sustainability. It's vital. It's vital right now. Thank you very much.
No argument there, Jody. Absolutely. Hey, well, look, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Jody. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Zan, for being in the background and running the show today. And thank you guys for attending. I hope you enjoyed the event today. I hope you've got something out of our some good knowledge out of our two speakers, and some maybe some ideas, something you can use, which will be great. And as I say, really, we've got to look at our supply chain, who we're purchasing from. It's a big component of moving into a low carbon future. So take that awareness, check out our directory, our membership directory. Our members are that sustainable supply chain, like I said before. Next week, we're going to have Michael Garvey from Foodprint. It's an app that helps you find cafe food that's ready to rescue near you. So there's good bargains to be had. It's a great innovation there. We've still got one more speaker to find for next week, but tune in. We look forward to seeing you there. This is going to be a weekly event, and it's just a great way to connect with good products and services. So thank you very much.
Thank you.